life-changing money, tax-free. Owning property in my personal name. I purchased a 2-bedroom apartment in London Bridge for £250,000. The reason I purchased this apartment was that myself and my wife were working at More London Place in London Bridge, and so it seemed to make sense to be near work rather than commuting from Letchworth, which was costing each of us £4,000 per year, plus the 3 hours spent commuting there and back. I remortgaged this property and it got valued at £500,000. I got a 75% loan to value mortgage, so my solicitor was advanced £375,000. My solicitor paid off my existing lender, who was owed £187,500. This was the 75% of the £250,000, meaning that I was transferred the balance, which was £187,500, which was tax-free. No tax to pay as it was held in my personal name, and because I hadn't sold the property, there was no actual gain made and therefore no tax to pay. This was one of the reasons I decided to buy more apartments in central London. Life-changing money, tax-free. Since moving out of London, I've been renting this apartment out so that as well as earning a monthly income from it, I'm also able to benefit from the capital appreciation. What I also realized was that this apartment used to be a 3-bedroom apartment. It's 77 square meters. So my plan on the next refinance will be to apply the B4R model and reconfigure this apartment into a 3-bedroom apartment. I found another flat with exactly the same floor plan as my current flat. Check this out. In my current apartment, the previous owner turned bedroom 3 into a kitchen and turned the existing kitchen into a bathroom and turned the bathroom into a storage area with cupboards. My plan would be to turn it back into a 3-bedroom flat, at which point I would have it revalued and refinanced onto another buy-to-let mortgage. Is a 3-bedroom apartment worth more than a 2-bedroom apartment in London Bridge, 5 minutes from the Shard? I can't wait to find out. When my wife and I initially purchased the flat in London Bridge, we really wanted to build up a portfolio in this area. But with apartments costing £250,000 to £300,000, it would mean that we would have needed a deposit of £62,500 to £75,000, plus the stamp duty, which could have been £10,000 to £14,000, and legal costs, say roughly £2,000. That could have easily reached £75,000 to £91,000, which we just didn't have. Looking back, I'm glad we didn't buy any more then, given now I'm able to buy more than 2.5 for every one I would have purchased the traditional way. For example, I purchased this 1-bedroom apartment in London Bridge for £330,000. I received a call from the agent saying that he had found a flat matching the criteria I had discussed with him. The apartment was located between London Bridge Station and Borough Station. It was an amazing location, and when the agent said to me he didn't have any photos or floor plans, I didn't care and I wanted to view it as soon as possible. When I went to see the apartment had lots of stuff in it. The person that used to live in it had passed away and the apartment was full. I think he might have been a hoarder, as it was difficult to see how much space there actually was given the amount of stuff in there before photos. As I walked into the apartment, there was a toilet on the right hand side and a small cupboard after it. Directly ahead was the first bedroom, which was a good size. We then walked into the living room, and again this was a good size. The apartment was very tight and dated. It had lots of different colors in each of the rooms and was definitely in need of the B4R model I had developed. The one thing that I was sold on this apartment straight away was the view out of the windows. The view from the bedroom, living room, and soon to be bedroom window was of the Shard. The view also looked out onto the park opposite the development. It was an amazing view, and for me, I was sold straight away. I wandered into the kitchen, which was just off the living room, and it must have been at least 30 years old. It was very tight and dated. The bathroom was much the same. It was a bright red and blue color with wood paneling on the wall to match. It had blue tiles on the walls, which had this old school mosaic on it. I could see that the apartment ticked all my boxes in relation to the criteria I had in place, and so I offered on the property, and eventually my offer got accepted at £330,000. There was a lot of interest in this apartment, but because I said I would be buying on a bridge, the owners seemed to like that. There were higher offers on the table, but these were from owner-occupiers who needed a mortgage to proceed. Let me show you the floor plan and how I use the B4R model on this apartment. As you can see from the floor plan, apartment, the kitchen was 9.97 square meters, which is more than big enough for me to convert it into a bedroom, and the living room was 16.77 square meters, which again was more than big enough for me to convert it into an open plan kitchen diner. The works took about 6 weeks, and my builder also managed to turn the toilet I mentioned as you enter to include a shower. So this apartment went from being a 1-bedroom apartment to a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment. If I decided to sell the apartment once the works were complete, then assuming the sale would have taken 4 to 6 weeks, I would have made £47,000 profit. So that's £47,000 in 3 months. What blows me away about property investing is the time required. I viewed this apartment once, and the next time I viewed it was when the refurbishment was complete. I literally went to this property twice. All I had to do in the background was engage my solicitor, broker and builder and interior designer and let them take care of their parts of the puzzle. All I had to do was review the report from my solicitor, review the valuation and bridging quotes, and finally review the buy-to-let mortgage offer, and also WhatsApp my photographer to take before and after photos. Let me show you what the apartment looked like once I applied the B4R model. First photo is of the converted kitchen that I converted into a bedroom. I love the way this turned out. There's so much space and natural light. The surveyor who came out when we applied for consent actually said to me, "Why don't I add an ensuite into this bedroom?" He said it's big enough. I was tempted but thought that the room would feel small and decided not to. The second photo is of the open plan kitchen diner. I created an L-shaped kitchen under the window, which meant that this room still felt quite spacious. I really like how this room turned out. The next photo you are seeing is of the existing bedroom, which was refurbished. Again, we had lots of space and this room felt light and spacious with lots of functionality. The bathroom came out really nice too. The final photo is of the small toilet and cupboard that I converted into a toilet and shower room. I used an interior designer to make sure I was using the space in the best possible way I could. I looked at color palettes and furniture selection as well as lighting. Let me show you how the numbers worked in relation to this project. The purchase price was £330,000. The refurb costs were £26,850. The bridging costs were £20,487. The stamp duty was £16,400. The legal and other fees were £3,226, meaning that the total costs were £396,963. The valuation of the apartment came back at £450,000. Assuming I had sold it at that point, I would have made £450,000 less selling and legal fees of £5,850, less total costs of £396,963. So a profit of £47,187. I was a little disappointed with the valuation if I'm honest, but because this was a remortgage onto a buy-to-let mortgage, I feel the £450,000 valuation was conservative. I personally think I would have got a lot more if I decided to sell the apartment, and therefore I could have made a lot more than just £47,000 if I decided to sell. As it happens, I used the B4R model to buy, reconfigure, refurbish, rent and refinance all the apartments I purchased in London and even outside. This model I've developed allows me to buy nearly 3 times the number of apartments when compared to the traditional way of investing and the way I used to invest. In this example, a traditional investor would have invested £143,000 into this 2-bedroom apartment in London Bridge. They would have been earning a gross yield of 4.8% plus a return on investment of 6%. Using the B4R model on the refinance, I had £61,000 left in with a return on my investment of 14%. The difference is mind-blowing, and it's for the same apartment. It just shows you what's possible when you get creative. The real increase in value in relation to this apartment was created by going from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment. Tax-free money in limited companies. I also discovered that if I owned property in a limited company and remortgaged the property in the future, then the proceeds of that remortgage would go to the limited company. Again, tax-free because no sale had taken place. I could use that money to buy another property, therefore growing my portfolio even faster. Director's loan to my limited company. Any money that I personally invest as a director into my limited company is basically like me loaning my limited company money. I can charge a commercial interest rate on any monies I lend to my company, and so over time can recover my initial loan and any interest that is due. This would not have been possible if I'd purchased the property in my personal names. So again, this is another advantage of using the limited company structure. Any monies you lend to the company, you will receive back, and you can also charge a commercial interest on that money so that your personal money is working hard for you if you decide to invest it. The interest on the loan is treated as a business expense, so you can take it off any profits the business makes, therefore reducing your tax liability as well.